Hello everyone, this is Dino Chris from Prehistoric Facts. This is Prehistoric Facts special episode number 121, and the prehistoric animal we're going to talk about is a type of reptile, and that reptile is Megalania. And so here's the skeleton of Megalania. I did actually have a picture in mind to actually show you the size comparison, but apparently I did not have it, so I probably accidentally canceled it to try to save it, but I accidentally hit the cancel button. But you get the skeleton this time, and so we'll actually just go on from here. So some information about Megalania. Megalania in Latin or Greek means giant roamer. Its length is 25 feet, approximately 8 meters. Weight 2 tons or 4,000 pounds. Lived 1.5 million to 50,000 years ago in the Pleistocene epoch. And found in Australia, and it was Sir Richard Owen who actually gave the name Megalania. He didn't really discover it, but even though you can actually say he kind of did discover it, but he actually got the naming rights to Megalania. So on the upper left corner, you can actually see the map of Australia, because this is where Megalania is found. In Australia, the biggest island in the world, and in its own continent. So Megalania fossils have been mostly found in the mainland area of Australia. And then, of course, you saw the skeleton in the beginning, and so you get the skeleton again. And so we get some more information about Megalania. Now, Megalania is actually part of the monitor lizard family, or the Varinidae. And so Varinidae are mostly monitor lizards, all monitor lizards. And we haven't found any complete specimens. There has been a few bones that have been found. They found pieces of the skull, bits of vertebrae, some ribs, and a few leg bones. They have not found a complete specimen. Probably it's due to what kind of environment Megalania was kind of living in, and also there could possibly be another reason why there could be we haven't found any complete specimens, probably due to cannibalism. That could actually also be the possibility. In Megalania, like all monitor lizards, they have a forked tongue to help them have a good sense of smell. They have good eyesight, and they also have very good hearing. And so it has all the senses to be very good hunters, and they can be very proficient scavengers as well. Now, Megalania, due to its size, is going to be slower than most monitor lizards, but it could still catch its prey. So it can actually still be able to try to catch any type of prey it can. It's most likely going to rely on ambush most of the time. So it's not going to just like burst out of the scene to go out and chase its prey for long distances. It's pretty much going to like hide into like tall grass or in the bushes, and actually pretty much just wait for an animal to be close enough so that way you can actually go out catch it with a quick burst of speed. And there's a possibility that Megalania has venom. Now, Dr. Brian Fry, who is a venom researcher, has actually found a venom glands that were actually in a Komodo dragon, and also there's venom glands in other monitor lizards like the lace monitor, the parenti, Komodo dragons, and also the Nile monitor, all those sorts of monitor lizards that you can find. But even though it's still highly debatable on whether or not this is actually still venom, or otherwise did they still use bacteria to actually kill their prey, like if they just took a bite and they held on long enough, they could be able to actually kill their prey by actually infecting the wounds with bacteria. But it's still highly debatable, but I kind of do like the venom hypothesis that it would probably did have venom. It's not going to be like a snake, like how a snake actually injects its venom. How most snakes would actually inject their venom is actually having like fangs that are like hypodermic needles, where it would just inject the prey with venom. Whereas like venomous lizards, like say the Gila monster, or otherwise the Mexican beaded lizard, those lizards they have venom glands in their lower jaw, and pretty much once they bite, they start like maneuvering their jaws a little bit more, and they actually squeeze out the venom by pressure, and the venom actually goes into the wounds and pretty much just kills the prey pretty quickly, and so it's gonna be pretty nasty, and it mixes in with the saliva and all that sorts of stuff. So it kind of makes like this toxic ooze. But also, Megalania, like all monitor lizards, would have bone in their skin. If you actually look at any type of monitor lizard anatomy, they actually will have bone in their skin. It's because it's like chainmail. It'll be like chainmail in their skin. So when they bite each other, claw each other, they do very little damage, and so they don't kill each other very much. But they will try to kill each other if they could. But it would just most likely due to biting most often. The type of environment Megalania lived in, it would be hot, dry, and an occasional cold temperatures. So it's a semi-arid to arid environment. And so there would not be that much foliage around Megalania and the other types of animals that were around. Some shrubs and some tall grass and some small trees were actually present in Australia and in the Pleistocene. And then we actually also have different kinds of animals. Like you got your mammals, like your megafauna, marsupials, and some placental mammals, but most likely the marsupials. Some reptiles, or reptiles got pretty big. You also had some ancestors to the most venomous snakes in the world today. So like the inland taipan or the brown snake, they're the top two venomous snakes in the world. They probably had ancestors that were probably very venomous as well, and so you might never know that those types of snakes actually got to be like that. It's because of their ancestors. Of course, the inland taipan is actually the most venomous snake in the world. And you got some birds. Birds were actually around. You actually had some flightless birds that were huge, giant emus, and also got your flight birds as well. And we also have some amphibians that were living around there. Probably some toads were actually wandering around the arid environments of Australia, but most likely the amphibians probably stay closer to the coast. And the predators and prey that were around during the time of Megalania. The prey, you have a giant wombat called a diprotodon, and also Procoptodon, which is also the giant short-faced kangaroo. And so this is a kangaroo that could actually get up to 8 feet tall. And so this would be a very powerful kangaroo, and it could actually be a pretty nasty foe for Megalania. And other types of predators that were around with Megalania, Thylacoleo, or the giant, the marsupial lion. And so the marsupial lion is actually a close relative of wombats and koalas, believe it or not. And so what the marsupial lion is going to look like, it's got almost like a body of a cat, but it has really large claws for climbing. So think of like claws like on the koala or the wombat, and you actually have teeth that are designed for eating flesh and bone. And so it has very sharp blade-like molars in the back, and it has almost like rodent-like teeth in the front. And so they actually have a very powerful bite, probably the most powerful bite of any mammalian animal in Australia and possibly the world at that particular time in the Pleistocene. And also you have a giant crocodile and a quincana. So a quincana would not be as big as the saltwater crocodile, but it would actually be a 10 to 15 foot crocodile that could actually do some pretty good damage. So here are the pictures of the prey and predators. I thought I had the marsupial lion picture saved, but I did not get it. So sorry about that. But upper left corner, you actually see Diprotodon, and Diprotodon would be as big as a rhino. And so that is actually pretty big. And then here's the giant short-faced kangaroo. And so very formidable foe for Megalania and other predators. But could do some pretty good damage to the marsupial lion. And this is an exaggerated version. This is an artist's rendition of a prehistoric crocodile that probably lived before Megalania, probably around, say, 60 to 50 million years ago, but Quinconna would almost look like this. They probably were semi-aquatic animals, and these horses did not live in Australia at that time in the Pleistocene. Now, the extinction of Megalania, it was mostly due to climate change. The climate was starting to warm up a little bit more and cooled and somewhat cool, but mostly cooling down most of the time. And the megafauna died out. So the prey that Megalania relied on pretty much died out. And different monitor lizards like the parenti and lace monitors took over, and so the parenti is actually the largest lizard in Australia today. And lace monitors are pretty much the closest living relatives to Megalania. Of course, Komodo dragons are also closely related to Megalania, and so Megalania could actually be somewhat of an ancestor to all these guys, but probably the lace monitor and the Komodo dragon are actually the descendants of Megalania. But Megalania, this was a giant monitor lizard. And there's a possibility that the first humans caused the extinction of Megalania by overhunting some of the big megafauna prey. But we still don't know yet, because the fossil record of Australia at that particular time in the Pleistocene, they believe that humans came to Australia about between 50 to 40,000 years ago, and so that would actually be pretty close to around the time Megalania actually did go extinct. But we do have cave paintings of the first Aborigines that actually would actually believe that they did see Megalania, and they probably did see Megalania. Probably the last versions of Megalania, the last surviving Megalania at that particular time. So here's what the Pleistocene looked like 50,000 years ago. And so you can see where Australia is right here, and you can kind of see all these land bridges that actually connected all the way towards Australia. So Papua New Guinea right here, and you can see how like parts of Malaysia actually integrated with, kind of connected with some of the other islands of Indonesia, and so pretty much some of these humans probably did get into Australia by boat, but probably when Papua New Guinea and Australia were connected, they probably just crossed right there on Cape York Peninsula and pretty much actually got into Australia that way. And so that's what it was like 50,000 years ago. Now, the next episode of Prehistoric Facts, November 9th, 2018, it'll be a Q&A episode, so if you got any questions about dinosaurs or any other prehistoric life, feel free to email me at dinochrist71@gmail.com, or just go on my Facebook page, Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris. Like the page, you guys should post your questions on the wall or in the comments section. Remember, keep your questions short to the point. You could also follow me on Twitter at CSGRALL. That's my Twitter page. I post pretty cool stuff on there. Also, take care of the people around you. Notes are for younger people out there to make sure to listen to your parents, your teachers, and your guardians. It's the best motivation you could have for good education. It's very important to have a good education. So with a good education, you get a good job in the future. That's it for now, and I'll see you guys next time.